everyone, I'm Alli and welcome to my channel and welcome to the second video for my HoliDIY 2020 series. And this year I am taking on popular design trends and showing you ways you can DIY for Christmas as well as a couple decorating tips. So today I'm showing you 5 traditional Christmas DIYs all using Dollar Tree items. So let's jump into the first project. For this simple DIY, you'll first need these Dollar Tree plastic plates and plastic ramekins. Next, using some fine grit sandpaper, lightly sand the plate and ramekin, and use a rag to wipe off the excess dust from sanding. After that, I took the pieces outside and first sprayed them with primer just because I wanted this to be extra durable. After about an hour of dry time, I then spray painted both pieces with 2 coats of gold spray paint, letting it dry in between. Next, I used Gorilla brand hot glue to attach the ramekin to the bottom of the plate to create this little faux cake stand. Now, there are so many different things you could do with this DIY cake stand, pedestal type thing, and I decided to place this large glass hurricane on top, and then I put some polyfill in the bottom to look like snow, and as an extra touch, I took some of this Dollar Tree faux snow and sprinkled it on top. Next, I filled the vase with various sized and colored bottle brush trees from Dollar Tree. But this one looked cute so many different ways, maybe with faux candles or a mini Christmas village scene or just anything that you want to fill it with. Finally, just to fill the empty area on the plate, I wrapped this Dollar Tree berry garland around a few times, and I think that added a very nice touch. This video is the second installment of a 6-video series. Last week I did modern farmhouse Christmas decor, so if you want to check that out, I'll put the card up above and a link to the playlist in the description. There are still 4 more videos after this one, but let's talk a little bit about decor styles when you're decorating in a traditional theme. For me, a traditional Christmas feels fancy, but also very familiar. This style is anything you think of when you think of Christmas. So that's Santa Claus, reindeer, snowmen, poinsettias, nutcrackers, you get the point. Anything that is just classically Christmas themes or motifs, that is on point for this style. While this style typically looks a little bit glam, I think it also really brings in a sense of nostalgia and just that classic Christmas cheer. So on to the more complicated project in the video. I'm using one of these Dollar Tree sleigh gift boxes, but if you can't find one of these, a Dollar Tree magazine holder would also work great. I used fine grit sandpaper to sand the entire sleigh outside and inside, then used a rag to wipe off the dust. Then, just like the first DIY, I sprayed the sleigh with a coat of primer, letting it dry for an hour before moving on. Once the primer dried, I decided to paint the sleigh red. Okay, listen, I know the sleigh was already red before I sprayed it with primer, but I think spray painting it red is going to make it look way nicer than just keeping that original plastic. Now back inside, now that the sleigh is dry, I have 2 of these metal plant hangers from the springtime from Dollar Tree. When I saw them in the store, I immediately thought of sleigh runners. And now I also saw Wendy at White Sparrow Living do this exact same thing, so I'm actually going to be following her tutorial here for attaching the sleigh runners, and I'll be sure to link her video in my description box. To mark the placement of the runners, I used a Dollar Tree chalk pen to mark where I wanted to cut the openings like so. Then I used my favorite candle trick to heat the blade of my utility knife to easily cut through the plastic. I used the first cut opening to make an opening the exact same size on the other side. After that, I added the runners, then cut down pieces of popsicle sticks to hold the runners in place. I'm using Gorilla Hot Glue for an extra strong hold. I also flipped the sleigh over and added in a little bit more glue in the openings just for that extra security. Next, you'll need one of these Dollar Tree drawer boxes and some complimentary wrapping paper. I wrapped the larger outer box and the smaller insert with the wrapping paper just like you would a present. Once both presents were wrapped, I added some glittery ribbon and bows made out of loops of ribbon to each of the presents. Next, I filled the sleigh with scrap styrofoam I had on hand. You could also use floral foam, and I used hot glue to hold it all in place. Before filling the sleigh, I wanted to add some extra detail on the outside, so I picked up these Dollar Tree rub-on gold transfers and applied them directly on the sleigh onto all sides, and I think this really elevated that traditional Christmas look. Finally, onto filling the sleigh. I first glued down both of the presents where I wanted them, and then began filling the sleigh with various Dollar Tree floral picks and greenery. I first figured out where I wanted to place each piece before using hot glue for a permanent hold. Next up, let's talk about some of the colors and the textures that you'll find with this style. As you'll see throughout this video, the common theme is red and gold, and also a little bit of white and some evergreen accents. That is just the typical color palette you would find with traditional decor, but of course you could do red and white and silver, or red and green, or whatever you want to do, but just sticking in that really classic color palette. This style incorporates a lot of glitter, metallics, and velvet for a glam and lush feel, but also brings in some of those traditional Christmas plaids to make it feel a little bit homier and a little bit warmer. After a complicated project, here are a few simple ones. I took this Dollar Tree gold reindeer, which has the perfect traditional Christmas shape, and just to prevent the glitter from going everywhere, which is so annoying, I gave it 2 coats of clear gloss spray paint. This part is optional, or you could use a coat of Mod Podge. Once the clear gloss is dry, I compiled a whole bunch of supplies for decorating. The first thing I did was attach a red ribbon to the antlers, that way this can be hung up. Then I took some thin ribbon and attached some small bells to the end. Then after that, I made a very quick bow by just folding some ribbon back and forth and tying it closed with some wire. I attached the ribbon and bells to the back of the bow, and before putting down the bow, I glued down a small floral pick to the side of the reindeer and a few other floral pieces, then attached the bow, and that completes this quick little DIY. This next DIY is so simple and inspired by something I saw on the Kirkland's website. All I'm doing is using a combination of hot glue and E6000 glue to attach these jingle bells to a red wreath hanger. And I think this is such a simple and easy project, but it brings in that traditional style with the bells and the red and gold. And all you have to do is let it cure for 24 hours and you are good to go with your new festive wreath hanger. Lastly, let's talk about decorating the Christmas tree. I feel like this one is probably the easiest one to talk about. It is just your classic traditional Christmas tree. When you think of a Christmas tree, that is your traditional decor style. So you can do it two ways, by going either glam and beautiful with metallic golds and reds and velvets and poinsettias and everything like that, and it just is a very stunning tree. But I also find a traditional tree can also be just an assemblage of all of the different things that you love, those ornaments that you've collected over the years, and also incorporating in a few of those Christmas bulbs. That way you have that traditional look, but also bringing in ties to your family and your home. And I think that is really what a traditional tree looks like. For my ornament DIY, this is a great project to reuse a Christmas card that you love. However, I just picked my card up from Dollar Tree because of the classic Santa design on it. And first, I cut out a generic ornament shape on the part of the design I wanted to keep. I then traced the shape onto a piece of foam core board and used a craft knife to cut it out. I repeated the same thing onto a piece of glittery gold scrapbook paper. And next I used hot glue to assemble all of the pieces, making sure to also glue in a little piece of wire to hang the ornament. Finally, I used some various trims to cover the edge of the foam core and decorate the top of the ornament. So that does it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, if you haven't checked out day one, I will be sure to link that. That is Modern Farmhouse DIYs. And I still have 4 more coming up, so you don't want to miss those videos. So hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, and you won't miss any time I post. In the comments down below, I want to know, have you already decorated for Christmas, or are you waiting until after Thanksgiving? I have not officially put up my tree yet. That's why the ornament was styled a little bit weird, but I am working on it, so I'm very excited. And that's all I have for you in this video. I'll see you on my next one. Bye!